Hi, I'm Pam Hansen. I hope you're all doing well on this fine summer day. Welcome. I'm just going to do a little bit of a talk about a little quilting project that I'm working on. Thought I would share it with you and maybe you'll pick up some good information. I'm working on a project that involves one of the very basic blocks we use in a lot of our quilt patterns. It's called the half square triangle. And I'm in the process of cutting and making those units to go into a quilt. The quilt I'm working on is this one. It's called Home for the Holidays. It's designed by Victoria Christensen. Her company brand name is V & Co. And she designs for Moda Fabrics. If you're looking for this pattern, you can probably find it a number of places online. If you're looking for her fabric, I know you can always look on modafabrics.com and you get a list of stockists who supply the fabric. This is not a brand new group of fabric, so it may be out of stock, I'm not sure. Anyway, this calls for half square triangle blocks to make star points on the Christmas, near the Christmas trees in the pattern. This is an example of the fabric that I'm working with that Victoria Christensen has designed. It's called Gradations. It goes from a dark over here near the selvage to a lighter shade in the middle and then reverses on the back. So you have light pink to dark pink, and the density of the little gold and pink circles changes as the color changes as well. So she has a whole group of fabric. This one is called Popsicle Pink. She has a number of different colors of this fabric. And I'm working on half square triangles. Okay, let's come down here and you can see what I'm working on. These are some of the finished half square triangle blocks. They're called half square triangles because it's two triangles making up a square with a diagonal line right kitty corner across the middle. So I've already sewn them all, started with 3-inch squares, and then drew or made a diagonal line, two pieces right sides together, the dark and the color, and sewn on a 1/4 inch on each side of that center line, and then cut them up and pressed them. I did press the seam allowances to the dark fabric on all of these. And now I need to trim them all because they need to be 2.5 inches to fit into the pattern, just size, the stars. And these are larger because I started out with a 3-inch square. So these are measuring about almost 2 3/4 inch square, and I need them to be 2.5. But I need to have this diagonal line right in the center. So I'm using this little small ruler. It's a 3.5 by 3.5. And this is what I refer to always as the 0 point, because this would be 0 up to 3.5 and 0 down to 3.5 that way. I always position that in the upper right-hand corner as I'm facing the ruler. And I'm going to lay that right on this mat here, or on this fabric that's on the mat here. The diagonal line of the ruler needs to be right on that seam line, and I need to be able to see where the 2.5 inch marks are. So here's the 2.5 inch. Pull that tape back so you can visualize where that white line runs. That's 2.5 inches. I put the tape on there just because it helps your eye focus in on the line that you need to achieve. And the same thing on the bottom here. This is the 2.5 inch line. So I know that I can see fabric visible beneath the 2.5 inch line on both these sides, as well as extending out on those sides. That's just the way I want it. And I'm going to take and trim. I'm right-handed, so I'm trimming the right-hand side and this top edge at once. Then I'm going to flip this 180 degrees, to where we make our next cut, I line up the edge of the cut fabric that I just cut on this side and this side. Need to pull that down a little bit. Put my fabric right on there, and the diagonal on the diagonal. A little bit of sun glare there. Hope that's not reflecting. And then I trimmed these two edges, which I had not trimmed before. And then I'm left with a little block that measures 2.5 by 2.5. And those will go into the pattern. Very simple, but really good to learn how to do these without error and with accurate measurements. So this pattern called for the fabric that I started with to be cut at 3 inches. The formula for making a half square triangle is to take the finished size of the square, which in this case is 2 inches, and add 7/8 to that. So 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, put them right sides together as I explained. I like to do, as she has done in this pattern, and upsize that just a little bit to 3 inches by 3 inches for my beginning size of the squares. And that just gives you, well, it's easier to cut on 3 and 3 rather than 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. And then it gives you that little bit of overage that you do come back. It is an extra step, but you do come back and you trim it down to the actual correct size. So that's how that works, and I hope that that was some helpful information for you, and hope that you get to make some half square triangles soon. Have a great summer. Bye-bye.